when NASA announced in 1991 that they were going to return to Mars with the Mars Observer.
NASA discovered life on Mars's moon. Imagine looking at the night sky and knowing we're no longer alone in the universe. NASA's latest findings on Mars have unearthed compelling evidence of life.
There are a lot of different objects on Mars that people see or think they see in various rover images.
Proof that the red planet once harbored the conditions needed to nurture it.
Structures on Mars may be completely related to structures here on Earth.
This discovery changed everything we thought we knew about our cosmic neighborhood and our place in it. Mars rover captures evidence of lost civilization. In February 2014, the National Aeronautics and Space Administration's Curiosity rover made an interesting discovery on Mars that got many people talking. After sending back some high-resolution photos of the Martian landscape, a group of amateur archaeologists noticed something odd, what looked like a human-shaped statue sitting in a spot called Dingo Gap. It wasn't just that one statue either. Other strange objects were spotted in the rover images, including a sarcophagus, a Buddha statue, and even a cross. At first, these seemed like wild guesses, but they were hard to ignore because they did look like sculptures humans might make. Now, the official line from NASA is that these shapes are just tricks of the eye. This is known as pareidolia, when our brain sees familiar patterns like seeing faces in clouds. But some experts need to be more sure. Joe White, a professional in image restoration, has spent years working with images like these, and he believes that what's being seen on Mars isn't just a coincidence. After working on these images, he found what looked like a statue with very clear details: eyes, a nose, and even what seemed to be an ear. The shape also looked like a long, narrow cone head, which could be part of a headdress and partially buried in the sand. He thought it looked like something you might find in Central or South America. Could these be the remnants of a lost civilization on Mars? Some ancient astronaut theorists say yes. They believe that Mars might have had ruins similar to those on Earth. For example, they point to structures on Mars that look like pyramids and even standing stones that resemble Earth's Stonehenge. There's also an area on Mars near a place called Cydonia, where people claim to have seen a face on Mars and even a massive pentagonal pyramid. Some believe that if you line up the tops of all the pyramids in the area, they look like the layout of the Pleiades, a star cluster that has been important in ancient Earth cultures. Of course, mainstream science says that all of this is impossible. But remember, just a few decades ago, we thought there was no water on Mars. Now, we know there is. So we need to ask ourselves, could there have been an ancient Martian civilization that left behind these structures? What happened to them? Or are these natural formations hiding a story we're only beginning to uncover? Let us know your theories in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to join us on this incredible journey through the mysteries of Mars. NASA's Perseverance rover finds organic matter in rock samples. National Aeronautics and Space Administration's Perseverance rover has just made a mind-blowing discovery on Mars that could change everything we know about the red planet. It has found organic matter in rocks from Jezero crater. And while that doesn't mean we've discovered life on Mars yet, it's a huge step toward answering that question. So, what exactly did Perseverance find? Let's break it down. Jezero crater is an ancient impact crater on Mars, about 28 miles wide. Scientists think it used to be home to a river and a lake around 3.5 billion years ago. This was back when Mars was much warmer, wetter, and more Earth-like than today. In other words, Jezero was a prime spot for life to have formed if it ever did. And that's exactly why National Aeronautics and Space Administration picked it as the rover's main target. Perseverance has been exploring the crater and collecting rock samples from Wildcat Ridge. This area is special because it's made up of mudstone, a rock that can preserve signs of life, or at least the ingredients that life needs. And that's where the big news comes in. The rover's instruments have found organic compounds in the mudstone, which are molecules made mostly of carbon. These compounds are the building blocks of life on Earth, but they can also form without life. Still, finding them on Mars is exciting. But hold on a second. Before we jump to conclusions about life on Mars, it's important to understand that organic matter doesn't automatically mean there was life. Organic molecules can form through chemical processes that don't require life at all. Scientists are careful about jumping to conclusions, calling this discovery a potential biosignature. That's a fancy way of saying it could be a sign of life, but they need more evidence. This discovery is even more interesting because these organic compounds were found alongside sulfate minerals. On Earth, sulfates are often linked to water. Where there's water, there's a chance for life. The sulfates on Mars could have helped preserve any signs of ancient life that may have existed there billions of years ago. So, while Perseverance didn't find clear proof of life, it's found something that could point in that direction. Now, the exciting part. Perseverance is not just making these discoveries for fun, it's collecting these samples to bring back to Earth. Scientists can study them closely in a few years and search for more signs of life. It's like a huge space detective story, and we're all waiting to see how it plays out. In the meantime, Perseverance will keep exploring Jezero Crater, studying the rocks, and hopefully finding even more clues. Who knows? One day, we'll finally be able to say that life did exist on Mars after all. Until then, this discovery is a huge step forward in our quest to understand the history of life on other planets. Strange structures discovered on Mars. In July 1976, National Aeronautics and Space Administration made history when its Viking 1 spacecraft touched down on Mars. It was a huge achievement. Humans had officially visited another planet. Viking 2 joined it not long after, sending back some of the first images from the Martian surface. But while those missions were groundbreaking, they stayed in one place, gathering data without exploring too much. Fast forward to 2012, when the Curiosity rover landed on Mars' Gale crater. This mission was even more ambitious. Curiosity's job was to gather data about the planet's environment, helping scientists understand if humans could one day live there. It was a big step in our exploration of Mars, and it's been sending back amazing information ever since. In 2018, something truly fascinating happened. Dr. Travis Taylor, an aerospace engineer, visited National Aeronautics and Space Administration's Johnson Space Center in Houston and met with Dr. Elizabeth Ramp, a scientist analyzing Curiosity's data. The big news? The Curiosity rover had found something surprising. The rover's Sample Analysis at Mars, SAM instrument, which collects and measures gases from the atmosphere and rock samples, was picking up methane on the red planet. Now, methane isn't just any gas. Living organisms on Earth can produce it. This raised a huge question. Could there be life on Mars? Dr. Ramp explained that the rover was picking up a cycle of methane. It rises in late summer, peaks, and then drops in the winter, like biological processes on Earth. This cycle is something scientists have never seen before on another planet, and it sounds suspiciously like the methane cycles we have here, which are linked to life. The big question on everyone's mind, could this methane be coming from living organisms? The idea of life on Mars might seem far-fetched, but this discovery has made scientists wonder if there could still be life on Mars, even today. The fact that methane is being released in such a regular cycle makes it sound very similar to how living creatures produce it on Earth. While there are other theories, the possibility that Mars could be harboring life, even in some small form, is incredibly exciting. The discovery could change everything we know about life in the universe. This methane finding is one of the biggest clues that life is not only found on Earth after all. It's still a mystery, but one thing is for sure. Curiosity is bringing us closer to the answer than ever before. Ancient civilization hidden on Mars. In March 2020, the Cydonia Institute, a group of researchers studying strange formations on Mars, published a fascinating study. They analyzed satellite images of the planet and found what they believe are 4- and 5-sided pyramids, along with some mysterious mountains. This idea began when National Aeronautics and Space Administration announced in 1991 that they would return to Mars with the Mars Observer. Since then, the Cydonia Institute has spent over 30 years studying NASA's photographs, finding a lot of evidence that suggests there might be artificial structures on Mars. The researchers are looking for clues that could prove there are ruins on the planet, just like the ancient ones we have here on Earth. They look for straight lines, circles, squares, and other shapes. When they find these patterns, they zoom in for more details to see if they reveal something unusual. One of the most interesting discoveries was made when the Perseverance rover landed on Mars. The researchers spotted a conical pyramid in the distance. The pictures taken by Perseverance were stunning, but the pyramid raised some serious questions. Geologically, such a structure couldn't have formed naturally. It was one of the biggest anomalies seen so far. As National Aeronautics and Space Administration releases more images, the researchers are excited to examine them, especially since Perseverance landed near a large lake. The real ruins might be located further away from the rover's landing site, possibly in the surrounding areas. For decades, scientists and researchers have wondered if ancient civilizations could exist on Mars. Mars has always intrigued us, but it was in the space age that we started getting a clearer picture of the planet. As NASA's missions progressed, including the Viking spacecraft in the 1970s, we began to see better photos, and some of them showed strange shapes on the Martian surface. Pyramids and other unusual structures appear in these images, sparking theories about a lost Martian civilization. Could these pyramids and mountains be remnants of an ancient Martian culture? Many continue to be fascinated by this possibility. With each new image and study, the mystery of Mars deepens, leaving us to wonder what secrets the red planet might still be hiding. Face-like rocks on Mars. One of the most exciting and mysterious discoveries on Mars was the face on Mars, a rock formation that looked like a human face in a photo of National Aeronautics and Space Administration's Viking 1 orbiter in 1976. The image sparked a lot of excitement and wild theories. Could it be a monument left by an ancient Martian civilization, or even aliens? However, when National Aeronautics and Space Administration took better photos in 1998 and 2001 with higher resolution cameras, they found the face wasn't exactly what it seemed. The face was likely just a trick of light and shadows. This natural rock formation is about a mile across and is located in the Cydonia region, between Mars's northern plains and southern highlands. It was formed over time by landslides and debris collection, and it looks like a face mainly because of how the sunlight hits it. It's important to note that the Cydonia region also has similar formations, so this face is just part of the natural landscape. When we look at strange shapes around us, our brains try to make sense of them by spotting patterns, like recognizing animal shapes in clouds. This ability, called pareidolia, is why we see a face in the rocks. While it's fun to think about, the face on Mars is most likely just a natural formation that looks like something we're familiar with. Despite the mystery, it's an amazing reminder of how much there is to learn about Mars and its secrets. Clues of an ancient Martian civilization. Faces and geoglyphs on Mars. In 2017, George Haas, a researcher from the Cydonia Institute, was studying satellite images of Mars when he noticed something extraordinary. He spotted a face on the Martian surface, similar to the famous face on Mars discovered in 1976. But this new face was different. It appeared in profile, almost like the Badlands Guardian on Earth, and it had a beard, mustache, and even a helmet with a bird-like headdress. The more Haas compared these formations, the more he saw a striking resemblance between them. The face on Mars and the Badlands Guardian share something. They both feature avian imagery. One has a feathered headdress, while the other has a full bird-like helmet. Haas believes that the culture responsible for these formations might have had a direct connection to humans, maybe even an ancient story that's being told through these geoglyphs, or giant surface markings, found on both Mars and Earth. This led Haas to consider a fascinating possibility. What if Mars was once home to an advanced civilization that eventually moved to Earth, leaving behind these clues? Maybe civilization on Earth began on Mars, and in a way, Earth was seeded by Martians. The similarities between ancient structures on both planets suggest that there may be a shared cultural or historical link between the two worlds. The discovery of the face on Mars raises an intriguing question. Could this be a clue pointing to a lost Martian civilization? Could these geoglyphs be remnants of an ancient culture that lived on Mars millions of years ago? Scientists and researchers are eager to uncover the truth behind these mysterious formations, and the idea that they could be telling us about humanity's origins is truly compelling. Another theory connects these Martian formations to earthly legends. Some believe these geoglyphs are part of a larger, global memorial built by an unknown extraterrestrial culture. This culture, it's suggested, might have had contact with star beings or celestial visitors who helped shape humanity. Perhaps these beings lived with us, assisted us, and left, leaving clues about where we come from and where we might be headed. The story of our origins could be written in the markings we find on Mars. NASA has found oceans of liquid water on Mars. National Aeronautics and Space Administration just made an exciting discovery on Mars that has scientists buzzing. There might be huge underground lakes of liquid water hiding deep beneath the surface. This water is enough to cover the whole planet with a layer up to a mile deep. Imagine that, a hidden ocean on Mars. For years, we've known that Mars was once much wetter than today. Billions of years ago, the red planet had a thicker atmosphere, warmer temperatures, and rivers and lakes flowing across its surface. But over time, Mars's atmosphere faded, and the planet turned into the dry, dusty place we see now. So, the big question has always been, what happened to all the water? National Aeronautics and Space Administration's InSight mission gave us the answer. InSight, which landed on Mars in 2018, was designed to study Mars's interior while listening to over 300 Marsquakes. Like earthquakes but on Mars, it detected something interesting. The seismic waves from these quakes gave scientists a glimpse into Mars's hidden layers. By analyzing these waves, researchers discovered a huge underground reservoir of water, possibly spread across miles and miles of the planet. This water is stored in cracks in the rocks, about 7 to 12 miles deep under the surface. And it's salty. National Aeronautics and Space Administration's InSight mission didn't just stumble upon this discovery. Scientists use smart computer models and seismic data to determine that liquid water is likely present in these deep Martian cracks. It's a big deal because this water might have been hiding there since Mars lost its atmosphere billions of years ago. This discovery brings us closer to understanding if Mars could have supported life in the past, or if life could still exist in these deep underground waters. In some ways, this is similar to how life exists in Earth's deepest oceans or underground lakes. If life could thrive in these conditions on Earth, it could survive deep beneath the surface of Mars too. The big find also gives us hope for future missions. With this discovery, the idea of humans living on Mars no longer seems so far-fetched. SpaceX and other organizations are already dreaming of building human settlements on Mars. If we can tap into this water source, it could be crucial for astronauts, helping them survive, grow food, and even make rocket fuel for the journey home. Of course, building a Martian colony comes with major challenges. The trip alone takes around 6 months, and the harsh conditions on Mars, like its extreme temperatures and dangerous radiation levels, are big hurdles. But with groundbreaking discoveries like this, the dream of humans living on Mars might not be as wild as it once seemed. Who knows? One day, in the not-too-distant future, we'll have a Martian city complete with dome habitats and spacesuits. Mars could become a backup home for humans, or at least an exciting new chapter in space exploration. But for now, we'll have to keep dreaming and studying, as there's still much more to learn about the red planet and its hidden secrets. Leopard spots on Mars may be a sign of life there. National Aeronautics and Space Administration might have just discovered evidence of life on Mars. A recent find from the Perseverance rover is sparking big excitement. The rover came across a fascinating rock slab in the Jezero crater, filled with strange leopard spots that could be signs of ancient life. These spots are part of a larger discovery that could change everything we know about the red planet. The rock Bright Angel was special because it shows signs of forming in water, making it an important clue about Mars's watery past. Perseverance found veins running through the rock, believed to have been deposited by water flowing through the crater billions of years ago. But what makes this discovery even more intriguing are those mysterious spots. They look like leopard spots, hence the name, and are different from other rocks Perseverance has found before. Here's where it gets really interesting. The dark halos around the spots contain iron and phosphate, two key ingredients linked to life on Earth. The lighter parts of the spots show that the iron has been reduced, meaning it's less oxidized. On Earth, such reduction spots are often linked to microbial life, especially in watery environments. So, could these leopard spots be signs of ancient microbes? It's a possibility that can't be ignored. But wait, there's a twist. The rock also contains olivine crystals from volcanic activity, not water. This has puzzled scientists because it suggests that volcanic activity might have happened after the water formed the veins, complicating the picture. Still, the presence of organic molecules in the rock strongly indicates that something interesting was happening on Mars long ago. While we can't say if life existed on Mars, this discovery opens up amazing possibilities. Perseverance's mission is bringing us closer to understanding whether Mars could have supported life, and these leopard spots could be one of the most exciting clues yet. Calcium sulfate veins on Mars. National Aeronautics and Space Administration's Curiosity rover made an exciting discovery on Mars that could bring us closer to understanding if the red planet could have supported life. While exploring the Yellowknife Bay area, Curiosity found something interesting: veins of calcium sulfate in the rocks, made up of minerals like gypsum and basanite. These veins are often formed when water moves through cracks in rocks, and on Earth, they're usually linked to places where water once flowed. Even more exciting is that these veins are everywhere in the area, and Curiosity is getting ready to drill into one of them for the first time. The rover's team has been preparing for this big moment, picking a spot just a few meters from where Curiosity is now. They'll drill into a vein, collect the powder, and use special instruments to analyze it in detail. This could tell us more about the mineral makeup and whether signs of ancient life might be hidden in these rocks. The cool thing is that these calcium sulfate veins tell scientists that Mars once had fluid activity, which could mean water was moving around in the planet's past. Water is one of the key ingredients for life, as we know it, so finding evidence of it is a huge deal. The rover even uses its wheels to open nearby rocks, exposing fresh material that can be studied. In short, Curiosity is in a prime spot to make history by drilling into these mysterious veins. Scientists hope that by studying the rock's chemical makeup, they can learn more about Mars' watery history and perhaps find clues about life. It's an exciting step in NASA's ongoing quest to uncover the secrets of Mars. Past magnetic field. Once upon a time, Mars wasn't the cold, lifeless desert we see today. It was a planet teeming with potential, a world where rivers carved valleys, lakes filled craters, and a thick atmosphere kept things warm and wet. Scientists believe it even had a magnetic field, like Earth's, shielding it from harmful solar and cosmic radiation. This magnetic cocoon may have made Mars a cozy place for life, but something changed, and Mars transformed into the barren landscape we know. The big mystery: when and why did its magnetic field disappear? We're piecing together the puzzle thanks to cutting-edge technology and some space rock's help. Enter Allen Hill's 84001, a meteorite that blasted off Mars billions of years ago and was discovered in Antarctica in 1984. This rock is famous, not just for the controversy over fossilized bacteria, but because it's a time capsule of Mars' ancient history. And now, scientists have uncovered some mind-blowing clues using a quantum diamond microscope. This microscope can detect tiny magnetic fields in minerals as small as a human hair. When researchers examined thin slices of the meteorite, they found 3 distinct groups of iron sulfide minerals. 2 of these were strongly magnetized, pointing to a time when Mars still had a global magnetic field. Based on radioactive dating, this field likely existed up until 3.9 billion years ago, hundreds of millions of years longer than previously thought. So, what does this mean? Mars's magnetic field might have stuck around long enough to shield its atmosphere from being stripped away by solar wind. This extended protection period could have made the planet habitable for longer, giving life a chance to take hold. Even though Mars lost its dynamo-powered shield, remnants of magnetism still linger in the planet's crust, acting like faint echoes of its vibrant past. Today, missions like National Aeronautics and Space Administration's InSight and MAVEN are exploring these magnetic clues to uncover Mars's story. Could life have thrived under Mars's protective field billions of years ago? We may never know, but every discovery brings us closer to unraveling the mystery of our neighboring planet's extraordinary past. The discovery of life on Mars, even in its tiniest, most ancient form, would be one of the greatest breakthroughs in human history. A moment that reshapes our understanding of the universe and our place within it. It's a reminder that life's spark might not be unique to Earth, and where there was once life, there may yet be hope for new beginnings. As we continue to explore the Red Planet, each discovery fuels our imagination, ignites scientific curiosity, and brings us closer to answering one of humanity's oldest questions. Are we truly alone? The answer might just be waiting on Mars.